actually works for herself and himself, and she has a lot of ideas, and some are good and some are bad, but if you focus well, if you've done your homework well, and if you have a bit of luck, you will be a successful entrepreneur.
How much luck do you really need? Because you're a very blessed person. You managed to find partners almost immediately as you were changing jobs. Because was that down to salesmanship, luck, great planning or strategy? What should the people here who are the budding entrepreneurs and running the businesses, what are the signals, the lead signals they need to be looking at?
Yeah, I mean, you say that you got to make your luck. You got to be lucky. And in order to be lucky, you got to make your luck. And how do you make the luck? You are at the right place at the right time. You focus yourself in such a way that you don't do stupid things. You just don't try and do anything and everything. You think about what you want to do, and you got to focus on that. So there's a lot of all that goes along with it. But really, clearly, Tarek, luck, you got to make it, and you got to have it. Whether you make it or not, if you have no luck, kiss everything else goodbye.
But when we do have luck, the ability to grab it, to grab the opportunity, isn't that one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs miss because they falter or they hesitate? And you didn't hesitate. You went out there at the time of the war in 1990, and everybody else was running away from Dubai. You stayed, and you doubled the amount of chemicals that you were buying, and you made your first $1 million there.
That's true.
So, what do you need to do? What happens inside you, the chemical change that takes place since you are in the chemical industry, that enables you to do that?
Well, it's the belief in yourself. Everybody else was leaving town in the Gulf War and thinking, it's enough. They've come to Kuwait, they've come to UAE, and it's a matter of time. People were leaving. My belief was that's not going to happen. My belief is that we were going to have a new UAE. We were going to have a new opportunity. Threats in a threat. If you look for an opportunity, you will find one. Sometimes you will find a needle in a haystack. I have found a needle in the haystack.
Warren Buffett, who is one of the richest men in the world, says precisely that when the times are down, that's when you buy, that's when you push. So you actually did that.
Yes, first of all, I didn't have anywhere else to go. I had just come to Dubai, and there was the Gulf War. I had just begun doing my business, and where was I going to go? So there was this one thing that I never looked back, because I had nowhere to look. I didn't have the back to look at, and I had burnt my bridges. But it's always important to burn bridges. You can't be in a multi-direction when you're trying to go forward. If you're going forward, you're focused to look forward. It is important to burn bridges and look one-sided. You have to be far-sighted, but you have to be one-sided.
So are you of the philosophy that my namesake, Tariq bin Ziyad, when he crossed the Mediterranean into Gibraltar, and he burnt his boats, and then he said, victory or death? Is that the kind of ethos that you have, and is that what you're telling people?
Yes, I would say that if you strongly believe in what you're doing, bet on it. Believe in it, and I'm sure that you will make it happen.
So what you're doing is you're advocating that everybody who's an entrepreneur here goes and raids their wife's jewelry box and starts selling everything. And just going out there and making shit happen? I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to say that, but...
I don't wish that on my enemy. You don't sell your wife's jewelry. The first question they asked her was, how was it? How did you feel when your husband sold your jewelry? And I could see, the monitor was in front of me, and I could see her face in 3 or 4 gears, It was shifting. And the brave lady then said, what could I have done? No woman likes to sell her jewelry, especially the one given by a loving husband at the time of the marriage. So I thank you for that, young lady.
So you were the supporting wife. Yeah. I know a lot of the work that you do, and one of them you speak about is teamwork. And there are many teams, a team internally within your organization. But let's look at your network. Other than your office people and your family, who are the 4 or 5 people that are in your immediate network that you connect with all the time? And how do you reach out to them for inspiration?
Yeah, I have most of the people that I think who are my mentors or who are my support system or who are my pillars are around me all the time. My wife is one, and I'm not trying to sound cliche. Actually, I argue with her, and we're not on good terms most of the time. But you know, she is my strongest pillar. You know, Venu is here. Venu is, you know, I call him Tiger. He's my colleague, but you know, he's my support system. My friend KY is here, Kishore is here. He's my support system.
But I'm asking beyond that, and the reason I'm asking...
Okay,
yeah. I'm so sorry.
And so, you know, so those people actually matter to me, and I work around them. I'll listen to them, I'll talk to them, I'll argue with them, I'll fight with them, and I make them my support system. It's very important to have people around you whom you can trust, whom you rely on, who actually then make bridges towards you, to be your friend and to be your support system. Do you think that anybody can conquer the world alone? Anybody can be singularly successful without having a support system, including a family? I have always failed when I am not integrated in my mind. I have always failed when the backup is not good. I always tend to go and say that, okay, I'm discussing this with you, but if you don't agree with me, I'm going to do it myself. Sometimes I do that, but normally I fail when I do that. So I think consensus is very important from reliable people and support systems coming.
I was actually trying to go beyond that, and what I was trying to probe is to understand, in terms of your role models and the kinds of people outside your work environment that you're dealing with. Let me develop that. Between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, who do you admire more and why?
Well, I like the maverick Steve Jobs, and I like the calm, philanthropic Bill Gates. So there's a combination there which I'd like to achieve. Not one person has the two. I think that, you know, Steve Jobs would go into a meeting and say, this is a great idea, I like it. I'm not asking you whether we are going to do it, we're going to do it anyways.
But Steve Jobs was a toughie, and a very dear friend of mine who was sitting there, he said that when he didn't get his way, he used to start crying, and people just don't know how to deal with crying. So that's actually what he used to do, and win deals and get concessions based on that. But 50 years from now, would the legacy of what Bill Gates is doing today be greater, or would it be Steve Jobs?
It would be Steve Jobs.
Let's move on to another role model. Warren Buffett was one of the richest men in the world. I think he's got about $50–60 billion worth of, I mean, that's his net worth, versus, say, Rupert Murdoch, who's also very, very successful. He's also in $20–30 billion range. The reason I'm going into this is for us